Mindlaw presents.
Everything you learned about history is the tip of the iceberg. Literally.
What every textbook agrees on. Water molecules attract each other.
This is the surface, the part above the water. Columbus discovered America. The Great Wall repelled invaders. Rome fell in 476. Clean stories, neat dates, one paragraph, one test question, done. But every one of these clean stories has a shadow underneath it. And the deeper you go on this iceberg, the less anyone wants you to look. Tier by tier, darker every time. Some of this you'll wish you didn't know. Let's go under.
Mentioned in one sentence, never explained.
Tier 2, the footnote history. Things your textbook mentioned once and moved on. Like the Opium Wars, where a global empire went to war to keep selling drugs to another country. Or the Belgian Congo, a king who ran an entire nation like a rubber plantation and called it charity. 10 million people, that's the estimate, not the death toll of a war, the cost of doing business. Or the Bengal famine of 1,943, 3 million dead while grain ships sailed, past, redirected elsewhere. Your textbook, one line. A famine occurred. Passive voice, no one responsible. Passive voice is doing a lot of work in history class. Every empire has footnotes like these, every single one. And we're only one tier down. It gets heavier from here. Tier 3. This is where things stop being left out and start being buried. The Tuskegee study. For 40 years, doctors watched black men suffer from syphilis and never told them, never treated them. It wasn't a rumor, it was a US Public Health Service program. It ended in 1972. MK Ultra, a real CIA program testing mind control on unwitting citizens, using LSD, hypnosis, and worse. Declassified in 1977, most of the records were already destroyed. COINTELPRO, the FBI secretly surveilling and sabotaging civil rights leaders it saw as threats. This isent a conspiracy theory. This is a matter of public record, released after Senate hearings. Katyn Forest, thousands of Polish officers executed, then blamed on the enemy for 50 years. The truth wasn't officially admitted until 1990. Every government has a version of this drawer. Locked, waterlogged, reopened, generations too late. Historians call these inconvenient truths. I call it Chapter 3 of a book they hoped you'd never read. And Tier 4 is where it stops being about politics and starts being about people. Tier 4, the Unspoken Tier. The Herero and Nama genocide, Germany's colonial campaign in Namibia, decades before World War II. Historians now call it a blueprint tactics, later echoed in the Holocaust. Canada and the United States ran residential schools designed, in their own words, to kill the Indian, save the man. Thousands of children never came home. Unmarked graves are still being found today. The Zong massacre enslaved people thrown overboard so a shipping company could collect insurance money. The court case that followed wasn't about murder, it was about property damage. Unit 731, a Japanese military program that conducted human experimentation during World War II. Many of the scientists involved were never prosecuted. Some were given immunity in exchange for their data. Operation Paperclip did something similar, bringing former Nazi scientists to the US after the war. Records quietly cleaned. These aren't fringe claims. They're documented in declassified government files, decades of investigative journalism, and official apologies. So why weren't you taught this in 10th grade? Because history that makes the reader comfortable sells more textbooks. Comfort isn't the same thing as truth. One tier left, the bottom of the ice.
What almost never gets said out loud, and why it matters now.
At the very bottom, it's not really about one event anymore. It's about the pattern. Every empire, every nation, every great era in your textbook was built the same way history always gets written, by the winners. Winners don't lie about everything. They just decide what's worth a paragraph and what's worth a footnote. The iceberg doesn't move. We just choose how far down we're willing to look.
This isn't about distrust.
That's not a call to distrust everything you were taught. It's a call to ask one more question every time a story sounds too clean. Because somewhere, right now, another footnote is being written. And someday, it'll be someone else's Tier 3. Which tier hit hardest? Tell me in the comments, and I'll bury an even deeper one in part 2.
Which tier hit hardest? Tell me in the comments.
Mind Law digs where textbooks stop. Subscribe if you want to keep going under. Mind Law. See you under the surface.